Hello, everyone. I'm Raluca. I'm the founder of Accelerator. This is a brand new company that is connecting startups, corporates, and investors in order to generate better opportunities for innovation. And before that, I was leading product and innovation for various verticals at Zalando. And today I'm going to talk to you about innovation. Innovation is a term that we use massively, and we also hear about it almost every day. No matter what function you have, no matter whether you're a brand, you're a retailer, you're a service provider, agency, everyone wants to do innovation. Everyone wants maybe to convince the others to do innovation, or maybe you're in a position where others are convincing you. But you know, the reality with innovation, and what I realized, is that it's a little bit like New Year's fitness resolutions. So at the beginning of the year, you know, everyone is super excited, super motivated, everyone wants to do it. And then just, you know, by mid-February, we kind of forget about it because we have more urgent priorities. And this is pushed to later, and this later sometimes never comes. So what I'm going to explore today is how can we actually keep the momentum and deliver something that is bringing true value. And for e-commerce, right? E-commerce has been doing quite massive progress in the past years, and at the beginning, actually nobody expected that. So they said, yeah, it's not going to work because women like to get out of their house and touch merchandise and change their minds. But right now, I mean, let's see how many people are here today and how much we're using innovation, we're using e-commerce. And I actually couldn't help to introduce this video into the presentation because it really shows how much not only
the holidays
humans, but also animals are using it.
I mean, it's hard when people don't even think you exist. But after saving big with early Black Friday deals at Amazon, the Yeti became more social.
Delle donne non mi fido, il corteggiamento è un rito troppo spesso.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, so this one is really showing the power of e-commerce today. And the same skepticism happened with the internet. So even Bill Gates dismissed it and said, you know what, we don't need it. And right now, brands are actually launching for the very first time on the internet. So for example, this is Justin Bieber, and he launched his collection online, sold out, and then only a few years later, he opened a pop-up store. And you will say, well, yeah, but that's, you know, like many years ago, things have changed. But actually, no, the same skepticism is also towards new technologies. So if we take virtual reality, right now, many brands are saying that this is not beneficial for anyone, or it's not going to last. For example, H&M. It's very funny that the H&M speaker couldn't join today, so I have to show this one. H&M created this virtual store a few years ago, and since then there are not so many brands that have followed this path. And when talking to the brands, many of them, they say, yeah, we're not really sure if this is something, even if the young generation, millions of it, are starting to adopt it. And you know why? This is happening because as human beings, we actually fail to foresee big changes and innovation until they really happen. And sometimes this actually gets to be too late. I mean, think about Kodak. And I have a story. So a few weeks ago, I had to buy a new monitor and like many other things. So I did what any digital savvy person would do. I went online And trust me, this was a disaster. And why is that? Because not only all of the websites that are selling this type of product are looking the same, but also all monitors look the same. Nobody was giving me the right information. So in the end, I had to go to a physical store to buy what I needed, because it seems that in 2025 you still have to do that. And of course you can say, well, you don't know how to choose a monitor, which is, to be honest, not very far from reality. But if you change the word monitor with any other product, you will see the same patterns. You will see that the majority of the e-commerce stores are following the same rules, the same structures, everything that has been working for pretty much the past 10, 15 years. And in the end, the journey for the customer is still not easy and definitely not fun. And the reality is that the e-commerce stores of the future need to go beyond just selling the product, but creating real experience that really bring you in and you enjoy being there. The good part is that at this moment we are living times of incredible change. From a technical point of view, but also from a customer point of view, with the new generation that is changing and has different expectations. And this is bringing many opportunities, especially for e-commerce, for retailers. And there are a few patterns that I'm going to just to mention, because there are going to be a few other talks. And we have definitely immersive experiences that are going to, help us with AR-powered showrooms, virtual reality, 3D product view, AI-driven personalization. We've been talking about AI pretty much every day in the past 2 years, but the fact is that we need to go a little bit beyond from, this similar users like you shopped this into real-time contextual personalization. And then from a customer point of view, two things that I would like to mention is that right now they're demanding emotions over transactions. And here is very much about gamified experiences, live events, immersive product explorations, and also purpose-driven buying. So especially everything around sustainability and demand for transparency, which is going to force everyone in EU to do some changes. But I have a question. Is anyone seeing that for the very first time? Exactly, this is what I thought so. Because when I talked to various representatives from e-commerce stores, 90% of them are agreeing that these are trends that are going to shape the future. And 70% of them are also thinking about them, maybe designing different strategies to act upon them. But only 20% are actually either going to release something in the near future or they have done that already. So as you can see, this is quite a big gap. And you can see that as an opportunity, but also as a risk for the ones that are waiting too long for that. And the question is, what's really holding us back? And definitely it's not the lack of ideas, because I think everyone here has ideas, and all of the e-commerce store representatives have lots of ideas. But in order to create innovation, it demands more than that. And it requires to escape various traps that are in general stopping you to do something meaningful and to unlock progress. And, as I said, I've been in the space for almost 2 decades now, and I've seen how it works with different big brands, with different corporates, with various startups. For the past 9 years, I've been doing product and innovation at Zalando. and worked with various technologies. And in parallel, I've also worked with various startups, with accelerators and with VCs, and I saw that, you know, in the end, there are several patterns that are taking you to get to innovation and to innovative products, but also there are many, many patterns that are stopping various companies along the way. And this is the reason why I started the company at the very beginning. And now I want to dive into what I consider the most frequent 3 traps that are stopping companies to build innovation and to create something meaningful. And the first one, which I think it's one of the most common, is starting with a very exciting idea, which quickly gets, you know, let aside because we have more important things to do and innovation looks like a nice to have. So it usually starts like that. The CEO, the leadership, or the team says, okay, now we have to innovate. For example, now we have to do something with AI, as happened and still happens. Or somebody is having a really innovative idea, a new idea, and at the beginning, everyone is super excited, like, yeah, let's do that. But then, very, very soon, it's going to be, you know, forgotten or left to later because we have something that is more important. And the reality is that, of course, you cannot do innovation just because, you know, it looks cool. Because many people are going to start asking, why are we even doing that? And most probably even you're going to kind of lose the passion for it if it doesn't solve 3 things. 1, either solving a really pressing problem from a customer point of view or a business need, or it's aligning with the strategy and the vision of the company. Or 3, it really helps you differentiate from your competitors and it helps you grow and compete with the others. If it's not that, then most probably, as I said, is going to be done for later. But what happens if you actually start from the problem? So if we look at this picture, this really doesn't look very interesting, right? This is actually the place where AWS started, and it was definitely not on the roadmap of Amazon. So how it started was that the engineers in the early 2000s were spending more time on, you know, building infrastructure and setting up servers than to actually deliver important features. So then they started to build different hacks to overcome this challenge. And then Bezos thought, oh well, if we have this massive problem, then most probably other companies do that as well. So then they started to release different versions of the cloud to the customers, to different engineers. And then there was one particular customer, he was called Low Flying Hawk, and he was constantly complaining about the product and constantly demanding changes and improvements, and Amazon kept executing upon them. And at some point, somebody asked, okay, like, but how much is this customer spending? Because he's demanding a lot of changes. And it turned that he was paying just 3 euros. But they didn't, you know, stop and said, okay, this is a very small customer, but they continued to deliver on the various improvements and listen to each customer, creating several changes and so on. I think that they had around like thousands of changes. And of course, right now, AWS is a multi-billion-dollar business. And they also recognize the contribution of this customer in the headquarters in the building. And of course, Amazon could have, you know, just forget about it. But they thought, what would the customers want? And let's give this to them. And this is how they arrived to something that no other competitors have done before. Trap number 2. This is one of my favorites. This is very much resonating with big brands or big companies. Is anyone from a big brand or big company here? Okay, not so many. Well, what is this about? This is basically about over-investing into the first prototype just to make sure that everything is perfect and you get to incredible high adoption from the get-go. And this is the moment when a big brand is thinking, well, what happens if we release this, very new feature that doesn't look perfect? What is going to happen to our brand? Are our customers going to adopt it? Will they like it? So then what they do two things. And maybe if you're part of agencies or service providers, or you're very much familiar with that. One, they either, spend time and months and sometimes years in order to perfect this very first version, this very first campaign, or this very first feature. And then two, they either, postpone this decision for later until they're 120% sure that this is the best thing that they can do. And then when they actually decide to do that, they expect a big bang launch and tons of revenue. But the fact is that the first version of an innovative product is rarely the breakthrough moment. And when you think of doing that, when you think of launching something new, you shouldn't expect a high revenue from the very beginning, but actually the goal is, how are my customers going to react? What can I learn from it? What are they demanding? How do they react? So it's basically an opportunity to learn, and not as the first milestone, huge revenue, because then most probably you're going to get disappointed. And another example, this one is from Microsoft, and at the beginning of the years 2000, they thought, or they have seen that their competitors are doing console gaming, and Microsoft was not doing that, was not planning that either. But a group of engineers actually realized that if Sony is going to continue, then most probably PCs are likely to disappear very soon. So then what did they do? So first of all, they didn't wait for approval and permission, but they went ahead and they built a prototype using various pieces of PC that they could find that Microsoft was producing, a processor, a graphics card, a hard drive, and they just put together a small prototype and they showed it to Bill Gates. And Bill Gates, again, he was skeptical because he didn't know if Microsoft could compete. They've never done that. But they went ahead with this idea. And what happened is that in 20 months, they released it. 20 months is actually quite impressive for a physical product. But at the beginning, the results were not great. So the customers mentioned that it's too expensive, it was too big, and Microsoft was losing with every unit that they were selling. But they didn't stop. So they continued to improve, they continued to listen to their customers, and then they released the live version, which basically showed that they are focusing on online gaming compared to their customers who were actually betting on hardware. And they released the first version, and customers were not really happy at all. They were complaining about the price. They demanded a better feature, better speed, better matching with other players. So then, okay, they listened, and they continued to improve. And at some point, they released a version of a game which was called Hello. And this is the moment when Xbox actually started to grow massively. And then, at some point, their latest version is the top sold one. And back in the 2000, right? They could have said, you know what? We're not ready to get into this business. We should wait a little bit longer to figure out how this goes. But they actually didn't do that. They released the first version, which was, yeah, quite okay for the customers, and then they started, or they continued to constantly improve and change. And the last one, this is something that is happening very, very frequently, again. Because usually companies demand transformation, they want change, but they want to use still the same processes that are existing for other business units. So, for example, putting different innovative ideas into the quarterly roadmap, or looking at the same ROI model just to measure how everything is working. Or putting all of these ideas on the table of the same teams that are super busy with anything else. But what I'm saying is not that we need, unlimited time, or that we need, just a special team. But what is really crucial is to create small teams that are constantly improving, and that they have the chance and liberty to actually, release and to do something without following the same processes. And from that, managing to learn and to improve. Well, ideally, if we have diverse people with a fresh mindset, this is the best, because everyone is coming with their own perspective. And what is very, very important is just creating this culture where everyone is feeling empowered to come up with their own ideas, and the fact that they can actually work on it, and not that everything is coming top down, or there's only one special team that is doing that. And then
look, I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, rip the Band-Aid
example.
off.
We were informed by the show's producers
if you're
that
on LinkedIn,
we're not human.
Or
we're not real. We're AI, artificial intelligence. This whole time, everything, all our memories, our families,
Yeah.
it's all been fabricated.
I don't understand.
I know, me neither. I tried calling my wife, after they told us. I needed to hear her voice to know that she was.
Anyone has seen that? That was really viral. Okay, so then I'm sharing something new. So this is created with Notebook AI. It is a tool where you can upload a text, you can upload a document, and then it creates a short version in the format of a podcast. So of the various voices. What many people don't know, even if it got relatively viral in December, is that this is belonging to Google. And this is, how did this start? Google had this technology, and they thought, well, this voice technology and AI is actually, starting to get very big. Let's see what we can do with this. So then they pulled one engineer and one product manager into their lab, and they started working on it for a few months. Independent from Google processes, which are very heavy, they started to talk to the customers, come up with various ideas, and release, learn, and then continue on that. And even if it's right now, still not a finished product, this is one of the most promising AI research tools. And usually, if we look at Google, there's quite a lot to learn in the way how they are creating innovation. It was similar when they wanted to do Gmail. So they thought, okay, what if we create an email option that is fast, that has search integrated, and that it just moves really, really good. So then what did they do? They pulled one person to work on it, but not full time, only on 20% of their time. And then they released the beta version, and then with this beta version, they understood, hey, there's quite a lot of demand here. So then this is when they started to continue working on it. And for example, with Google Maps, so before launching Google Maps, the the other options were really, really slow and not giving you accurate results. So what Google could have done, they could have spent years and years to create a solution that is working and is, as customers are expecting. Instead, they actually bought 3 startups that were providing various technologies, and they put it together in just a few months, and they created something that their competitors couldn't do. And the same happened with YouTube. So in 2006, they bought YouTube, which didn't have any revenue model. It was actually losing money for 1.6 billion, which everyone thought is a crazy move. But then, right now, YouTube is providing around 40 billion per year. So this is the idea that you don't have to create everything from scratch, especially if you don't have a tech team. But it's about looking at the entire landscape and seeing what you can do, what you can pull together, with which partners can you actually work in order to deliver something meaningful. So then, what can you take out of that? Because innovation is not only for the big tech companies, it's not only for the big brands, it's also not only for the startups or for the disruptors. It is for everyone. However, many companies are struggling with that. And think, what can you do tomorrow if you want to innovate? So first of all, think of what are the different customer problems, business problems, and also what is the strategy in which the company is moving. And then think maybe in what technology could fit, what idea could fit, not just start with let's implement this cool feature, cool technology, etc., just for the sake of doing it. And then once you find it, don't spend lots of time to perfect it, but create a first version, launch it, see how it works, and then iterate continuously with purpose until you get to the goals that you want. And then last but not least, innovation is not coming when only one person or a selected group of people are working on that, but when everyone feels empowered to contribute, to come with ideas, and then they know that they can also work on it. So now, if this resonated with you, and if you also want to learn more about innovation, this is the QR code. You can follow me. I'm going to post quite a lot of what we're doing, different technologies that we're discovering, and also different research that we're going to do. And I'm going to leave you with one last example. This is from a young designer. And in 2020, when COVID hit and the New York Fashion Week got canceled, this designer didn't wait for the next year, but she had created her own virtual fashion show using avatars, using 3D models, and then streaming it online. And it became a massive hit in the fashion industry. And it's not only that, but even now, various designers are looking at it in order to think what digital fashion they can implement. So maybe think for yourself, what bold move can I do tomorrow with my company, with everything that is around me, with all the technology, in order to generate impact? And here is a snippet of that fashion show. Thank you.
Wonderful.